There's so many more stories I
Yeah.
haven't told anybody. For example, Jonathan took our kids to our mutual friend's birthday party, and our daughter stuck close to daddy.
Joni Lamb's relationship with Doug Weiss quickly became one of the most scrutinized aspects of her life following the death of her husband, Marcus Lamb. As a respected Christian broadcaster, Joni's decision to move forward with Doug soon sparked intense speculation. Doug, a well-known marriage counselor specializing in overcoming sexual addiction, shocked many when he filed for divorce from his wife of 30 years in January 2022, just 2 months after Marcus's passing. The timing raised red flags, with many wondering if their relationship had begun long before his marriage officially ended. The secrecy surrounding their courtship only fueled rumors. Rather than making a straightforward announcement, Joni carefully controlled how the relationship was introduced to the public. She first invited Pastor Jimmy Evans onto her table talk show, where he discussed why divorce was permissible in cases of addiction, adultery, abuse, and abandonment. Only after setting this stage did she introduce Doug as her fiancé, a move that many saw as calculated. Adding to the controversy was Doug's past. Though he had built a ministry helping men overcome sexual sin, his sudden departure from his marriage cast doubt on his own adherence to these values. Reports surfaced that his ex-wife had begged him to stay, yet Joni allegedly saw this as proof of his worth as a husband. Many also questioned the pace of their relationship. While grief is personal, some found it unsettling how quickly Joni moved on. Whispers suggested Doug had been providing her with emotional support even before Marcus had fallen ill, an allegation she fiercely denied. In leaked audio recordings, Joni passionately rejected claims that Doug had sent her inappropriate messages while Marcus was still alive. She insisted their connection was pure, guided by prayer, and counseled by Christian leaders. However, her intense defensiveness only added to the controversy, leaving many unconvinced. Speculation grew around Joni Lamb and Doug Weiss's relationship, with many questioning whether it was built on love or strategic ambition. As the widow of a powerful media mogul, Joni controlled Daystar, a massive Christian television network, while Doug, though respected in his field, did not command the same influence. Some believe their union was as much about merging power as it was about personal affection. Their marriage created a compelling narrative of healing and second chances, one that could be marketed to the Daystar audience. Despite the controversy, Joni remained firm in her conviction that Doug was a blessing. She spoke openly about the happiness he brought into her life, describing their marriage as a new beginning after years of hardship. Yet, many still questioned whether her love was genuine or if it masked a more complex agenda. Had Marcus's death paved the way for this union in ways the public had yet to fully understand? Meanwhile, tensions within the Lamb family escalated, exposing fractures that had long been hidden. Joni's decision to move on after Marcus's passing had already drawn public scrutiny, but the strongest opposition came from within, particularly from her son, Jonathan Lamb. Once seen as his father's natural successor at Daystar, Jonathan found himself at odds with his mother, leading to a painful and private family divide that rippled throughout the Christian community. Having grown up in the world of Christian broadcasting, Jonathan had witnessed the weight of his family's influence firsthand. Many assumed he would step into a greater leadership role after Marcus's passing. Yet instead, he found himself alienated as his mother's personal decisions reshaped the ministry's future in ways he found troubling. The breaking point came when Joni introduced Doug into their lives. Jonathan and his siblings strongly opposed the relationship, believing it to be both inappropriate and unbiblical. To them, Doug's presence disrupted not just family dynamics, but also threatened the stability of Daystar. According to Jonathan, all of Joni's children voiced their concerns, but she dismissed them, standing firm in her decision. He saw this not as a matter of grief or personal happiness, but as one of control and secrecy. In a shocking revelation, Jonathan recalled a conversation with his mother that left him deeply unsettled. As he hesitated to support her marriage, Joni allegedly attempted to secure his loyalty by offering him an influential role at Daystar, promising financial security and leadership. She even made an eerie remark about how they could all die in a plane crash, a statement that, while perhaps said in frustration, sent chills down his spine. To Jonathan, This was more than just an offhand comment. It felt manipulative, planting seeds of doubt about his father's death and his mother's true motivations. The tension escalated when Jonathan and his wife, Susie, publicly denounced Joni's relationship with Doug. Susie, who had been close to Joni for years, found herself torn as the family fractured. She sided with her husband, believing Joni's choices were reckless and damaging to the family's integrity and the ministry. As the rift deepened, internal struggles at Daystar surfaced. With Jonathan pulling away from his mother's influence, questions arose about who would ultimately control the network. Once a unified vision under Marcus's leadership, Daystar now risked becoming a fractured empire, torn apart by personal disputes and unresolved tensions. For Jonathan, this was about more than just losing his father. It was about watching his family's foundation crumble. He had envisioned Daystar as a testament to Marcus's faith and commitment, a legacy to be upheld with integrity. Now, with his mother making choices he could not support, he questioned his own place in the empire he had been raised to lead. Despite the growing divide, Joni remained steadfast, defending her relationship and dismissing accusations. She insisted Doug was a man of integrity, bringing her peace after deep sorrow. But to her children, the issue was not just about Doug. It was about trust, rewritten narratives, and the pain her choices had caused. As speculation about the Lamb family and Daystar's future continued, one thing became clear. This was no longer just a private family dispute. It was a struggle for power, legacy, and control over a ministry built on faith. Whether reconciliation was possible remained uncertain, but for now, the divide seemed impossible to bridge. Marcus Lamb's death in November 2021 was officially attributed to complications from COVID-19, but speculation about the circumstances has only grown. As the co-founder of Daystar, Marcus was more than a televangelist. He was the driving force behind a media empire that reached millions. His sudden passing sent shockwaves through the Christian community and raised unsettling questions. For some, the timing of his death, coupled with rapid changes within Daystar and Joni Lamb's personal life, felt too convenient to be mere coincidence. One of the earliest sources of speculation stemmed from Marcus's firm control over Daystar's finances and operations. Every decision, every dollar, and every major broadcast reflected his vision. His leadership, though authoritative, kept the network on a steady course, making it one of the most prominent Christian platforms. With his passing, control shifted suddenly and completely to Joni, leading some to wonder if internal conflicts over power had been brewing long before Marcus's death. Though no direct evidence suggested foul play, whispers of betrayal and hidden agendas began to spread. Further fueling suspicions was the speed at which Joni moved forward in her personal life. Just weeks after Marcus's death, she formed a relationship with Doug Weiss, an unfamiliar figure to the Daystar audience. The sudden romance raised uncomfortable questions. Had their connection begun after Marcus's passing, or had it been developing behind the scenes? If Marcus had sensed betrayal before his death, had it played a role in his final months? These unanswered questions fed into a growing narrative that his death was more than just a tragedy. It was a turning point for Daystar's future. Reports of tensions between Marcus and Joni before his death added to the intrigue. Some suggested cracks had begun forming in their marriage and professional partnership, particularly over leadership decisions at Daystar. Outwardly, they maintained a united front, but rumors of financial disagreements and ministry direction disputes indicated otherwise. If these tensions were real, they could explain why Joni quickly seized full control of the network after his passing. Perhaps the most chilling speculation came from a private conversation between Jonathan Lamb and his mother. When Jonathan resisted supporting her relationship with Doug, Joni allegedly reassured him of her ability to provide for him, even making an eerie remark about how we could all die in a plane crash. Whether said in frustration or as a careless remark, the statement haunted Jonathan, deepening his doubts about his mother's priorities and motivations. Despite all the speculation, no concrete evidence suggests that Marcus's death was anything other than what was publicly stated, a tragic result of COVID-19. Yet for skeptics, the pieces never quite fit. The power shift, the rapid new relationship, and the family conflict did not reflect the actions of a grieving widow. Instead, they painted a picture of a woman moving forward decisively, in ways many found difficult to reconcile with the image of a heartbroken wife. As time passed, rumors refused to fade. The lack of a transparent investigation into Marcus's final days only fueled further doubt. Supporters of Joni dismissed these speculations as baseless, arguing that grief takes different forms and that she was simply rebuilding her life. Critics, however, saw her actions as strategic moves prioritizing ambition over biblical principles. To them, the unanswered questions weren't coincidences. They were clues to a larger mystery yet to be uncovered. Allegations of secrecy and manipulation surrounding Joni's decisions further cast doubt on her leadership. Instead of openly announcing her engagement to Doug Weiss, she orchestrated a carefully framed segment on Table Talk with Pastor Jimmy Evans, justifying divorce under certain conditions before revealing her relationship. When Doug's ex-wife, Lisa, pushed back against her portrayal, Daystar swiftly removed the episode, suggesting a pattern of burying inconvenient truths. The same tactic seemed evident within her own family. When her children opposed her relationship, Joni allegedly attempted to secure Jonathan's loyalty by offering him a position of power at Daystar. What should have been a unifying gesture felt more like an effort to control the narrative. Under Joni's leadership, those once loyal to Marcus found themselves sidelined, and any dissent within the organization was swiftly silenced. Daystar, once a beacon of faith, became embroiled in internal conflict, its future clouded by distrust. More troubling were allegations of abuse within Daystar, raising serious concerns about accountability under Joni's leadership. The most alarming accusation involved a trusted insider, Pete, accused of abusing Jonathan and Joni Lamb's 9-year-old daughter. Instead of addressing the issue transparently, Daystar allegedly suppressed the claims, prioritizing damage control over justice. The network relied on polygraph tests to clear Pete's name, a method widely criticized for its unreliability. For an institution built on Christian values, this response was deeply troubling, further eroding trust. The refusal to properly investigate the allegations fueled skepticism within the Christian community. Supporters of Daystar began questioning whether its leadership truly upheld the principles it preached. Critics saw the situation as further proof of a culture of secrecy and manipulation, suggesting that power preservation had taken precedence over moral and ethical responsibility. Whether justice would ever be served remained uncertain, but the scandal left a permanent stain on Daystar's credibility. The controversy surrounding Joni Lamb, her marriage to Doug Weiss, and the turmoil within Daystar has left the Christian community deeply divided. For years, Daystar promoted messages of faith, family values, and integrity. However, the recent scandals, from the rushed engagement to allegations of secrecy and abuse, have shaken the trust of many loyal viewers. Some believe Joni's actions are a natural response to grief, a woman simply trying to rebuild after devastating loss. Others see her decisions as calculated moves that prioritize personal ambition over spiritual mission. Supporters argue that she has endured tremendous hardship and is now finding happiness again, while critics question the integrity of her leadership and whether Daystar can survive under such scrutiny. The most troubling aspect remains the lack of clear answers. The unresolved questions surrounding Marcus Lamb's death, the secrecy around Joni's relationship, and the alleged suppression of abuse claims have only fueled further speculation. Once a trusted beacon of Christian values, Daystar now faces an identity crisis. Can it recover, or has too much damage been done? Whether this becomes a story of redemption or a cautionary tale remains to be seen. But for now, the trust that once defined Daystar has been severely shaken, and the legacy of Marcus Lamb has become far more complicated than anyone could have imagined.